Hello and welcome students. In the last video lecture, I explained you the tabular representation of data. Now in this video lecture, I am going to explain you the diagrammatic representation of data. Now what is diagrams? Diagrams means whatever the data that we are getting in raw form that is being represented in a simple and attractive manner so that even the illiterates, even the uneducated can easily get the idea by referring just the diagrams. Easily analysis and conclusions can be available with the help of diagrammatic representation. Now we can see on the board I have written the importance and the limitations of diagrams. First of all, let us understand what are the importance or uses or what are the advantages of diagrammatic representation of data. Okay, the first one, that is data are represented in simple, attractive and concise form. It means whatever the long or raw form of data that we have collected, in order to analyze, it has been arranged in a simple, attractive manner and in a small form, concise form. That data has been arranged with the help of diagrams. So easily the analysis can be done with the help of diagrammatic representation. Next one, that is data are remembered for a longer time. That whatever the diagrams, whatever the graphs that we have presented, the data in the form of diagrams, that can be easily memorized, can be remembered for a longer time period rather than the theoretical data in the long form of a theory. Okay. Next one, third one point, that is comparative study of data becomes simple. Suppose there are a price of shares comparison of two different companies, then easily the comparative study of two different companies or two different industrialists, their progress can be easily compared with the help of diagrams. So easily you can analyze what is the progress of the growth rate of each of the company. Okay. Next one, that is fourth one, time is saved for studying data. Easily the analysis, the conclusion, the forecasting or the future planning can be done on the basis of the diagrams, on the basis of the representation of data with the help of diagrams. So the time is saved of the person who is studying the data. Okay. Next one, fifth one, that is easily understandable to illiterates, less educated or children. Now easily the diagrams you can see. Here one example, two questions I have taken from your textbook only. That you can see easily the data in the form of different bars. Okay. So easily even the illiterates, even the children can easily understand that which is the long bar that is having the maximum price or maximum growth, and which is having the less lower bar or lower graph, lower bar that is having the lesser price or lesser growth. Okay. So even the illiterates or children can analyze the progress or growth by referring the diagrams. Okay, so it is easily understandable even to the illiterates or the children. Next one, that is sixth point, effective advertisements can be done. Now students, you are seeing the advertisements that Horlicks and Bournvita and such type of health drinks are being available in the market, and their advertisements in that they are showing that by drinking Horlicks or Bournvita, the graph or the growth of the child is being increasing. So that is being represented with the help of diagrams. So even the advertisements can become more effective with the help of diagrammatic representation. Next one, that is seventh point, useful for convey of messages related to social reforms. Now students, you are knowing very well that many kind of social reforms, many kind of social injustice were prevailing in our society, such as child marriages. Now with the help of this diagrams, whatever the reforms that have came in our society, previously the age of marriage that was below 18, it means child marriages were taking place in our country, but now the age of marriage has been increased from above 18. Okay, so that reforms can also be measured with the help of diagrams, can be represented easily with the help of diagrams. Okay, next one, that is eighth point, pictorial diagrams are easy to understand. Pictorial diagrams means any kind of pictures, if they are represented in the diagrams, then it can be easily understandable to the person who is referring the diagram. He can get easily the analysis and conclusion by just seeing or looking at the diagrams. Okay, so these are the advantages or the importance because of which diagrammatical representation of data is very much important. Now after understanding the importance, let us move on to understand the limitations. Just as there are two sides of the same coin, same way as there are advantages, there are limitations also of this method. The first point that you can see, that is wrong interpretations. It means if there are illiterates or uneducated or children, then proper analysis or interpretation of the diagrammatic representation of data may not be possible. It means wrong interpretation or wrong analysis can be understood from the diagrammatic representation of data. But that is not the limitation of this method. That is the limitation of the person who is analyzing that data from the diagrams. Okay. Next one, that is illusionary effect misleads public opinion. Illusionary effect means what is not real. You can see in the advertisements that due to any kind of face cream, the glowness or the brightness of the face is increasing within 2 weeks and within 3 weeks. So that is also represented with the help of graphs. That the growth rate or the face the fairness or the brightness of the skin has been increased within 2 weeks, within 3 weeks. What is the fairness, how much it was in first week, second week, third week, that can be explained with the help of diagrams. Okay, so that is just as illusion, because that is not real. In real, when we use that product, naturally that much effect you will not get as that shown in the advertisement. Okay, so that type of illusion effect that misleads the public opinion, it provokes the public to purchase that product, but when actually they utilize that product, that was just an illusion. In reality, that much fairness or brightness is not observed in the skin as that shown in the advertisement. So whatever the diagrams that are represented in the advertisement, that may be illusionary, that may not be real effect. Okay. Next one, the third effect, that is loss of accuracy. It means whatever the diagrams which we are representing in the form of bar diagram or in the form of any kind of pictorial diagrams, then accurate data or accurate information may not be available. So there may be loss of accuracy due to the diagrammatic representation compared to mathematical representation. In mathematical equations, whatever the data that you get by applying the proper mathematical formula, then the answer you will get that will be accurate. But with the help of diagrams, the answer or the data you are analyzing, that may not be accurate. So there is a loss of accuracy in case of diagrammatic representation. Okay, students, now up till now we have completed importance and the limitations. Now after understanding the advantages and limitations of diagrammatic representation, let us move on to the types of diagrams. Now there are basically 3 types of diagrams, students. First one, that is one-dimensional, where only one factor, one dimension is taken into consideration, that is called one-dimensional diagram. Second one, that is two-dimensional diagram, where 2 dimensions are taken into consideration. Then the third one, that is pictorial diagram. Basically there are 3 parts of or 3 types of diagram. Now in each type of diagram there are subtypes. Okay, so today we are going to understand the first one, that is one-dimensional diagram. And there are 4 different types of one-dimensional diagram. The first one, that is, you can see on the board I have already written the heading, that is bar diagram. Okay, the second one that I am going to explain you, that is multiple bar diagram. Okay, first one, that is bar diagram. Second one, that is multiple bar diagram. The third one, that is simple divided bar diagram. Simple divided bar diagram. And the fourth one, that is percentage divided bar diagram. Okay, so these are the 4 types in case of one-dimensional diagram. Now today, students, we are going to understand the first 2 types of diagram, that is bar diagram and multiple bar diagram. Okay, so for that I have taken 2 of the examples of your exercise, that is exercise 2.3, that is on page number 55 of your textbook. I will be explaining you question 1, that is based on bar diagram, and question number 3, that is based on multiple bar diagram. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Let us read the question from your textbook, that is page number 55. Following is the data on the number of employees working in various government departments. It means the number of employees that are working in various government departments that are given to you. You can see in the question that railways, roadway department, income tax department, finance department, and planning department. These are the 5 departments, government departments that are given to you, and in each of the department, how many of the employees are working, that data is given to you. Okay. Now, what is told to you? Present it with a suitable diagram. Now the data over here, it is to be represented in a form of a diagram. Now you can easily understand that whatever we have to represent the government departments, that will be represented on x-axis, and whatever the number of employees in each of the department, that will be represented on y-axis. Now students, you are already knowing, in lower standards also we have studied, that is the bar diagram, how to make the bar diagram, the basic things you have to take care of while making the diagrams. That is, you have to first of all represent on the horizontal axis, horizontal line, that is x-axis, the vertical line, that would be y-axis, and then afterwards you have to compulsory write the scale. That is very much important. That is on the right top corner, you have to mention the scale. Okay, so here you can see scale I have mentioned for x-axis and for y-axis. For x-axis I have represented the government department. So here you have to keep equal distance. Here you can see railway, road, income tax, finance and planning. These are the 5 departments in which I have kept equal distance. Okay, so on x-axis I am representing government departments, and that you have to mention in bracket at the end also, last also. Okay. Then afterwards on y-axis, 1 centimeter is equal to 500 employees. Now students, this you can represent in a graph paper. In exam, if this type of sums come, then graph paper is generally provided to you. So you have to draw this bar diagram in a graph paper. Okay. So in graph paper, there will be small checks, small boxes. Okay. So 1 centimeter is equal to 500 employees. So 1 box is equal to 500 employees. Okay. So that scale you have to mention over there. Now how will decide the scale on y-axis? It depends upon the question. It differs from question to question. Over here you can see in this question that the lowest data, that is 1500 employees, that is for planning, and for the highest data, that is 6000, that is for railway. So our lowest data, it should be represented from the lowest to the highest data. So lowest data is 1500. So you can start from 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, like that also you can measure. Okay, so then the scale would change. Here you can write y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 1000 employees also, but it differs from student to student. Over here I have taken scale, that is 1 centimeter is equal to 500 employees. Students, you can take any scale, but it should cover the minimum value and the maximum value that has been given to you in the question. Okay, and equal gap should be maintained among each and every values of the on the y-axis. Okay, that is the main important thing. Otherwise, the y-axis scale can differ from student to student. Okay. Now over here you can see I have taken scale for y-axis, that is 1 centimeter is equal to 500 employees. So I will keep equal gap 500, then 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500 up till 6000, because my last highest value, that is 6000. So our line of y-axis should be extended up till the maximum value that has been given to you in the question. Okay. Now after deciding the scale of x-axis and y-axis and representing, and also you have to mention what you are representing on y-axis. Don't forget to mention, that is number of employees. In bracket you have to write that what you are representing on y-axis and x-axis. Okay, these are the basic things you have to consider, or you have to mention it in any kind of graph. Okay. After presenting all the basic things, now we will be starting representing the data from the question in the graph. Okay. The first data that has been given to you, that is Department Road Transport, number of employees, that is 4000. So you can see the first bar graph that I have drawn, that is for railway, and the number of employees that is given to you, that is 6000. Okay. First I have to present rail, then afterwards road. But in question it is given to you road. So you can write first road and then rail. Doesn't make any difference. So first I have mentioned railway. In railway the number of employees, that is 6000. So you can see the first bar graph that I have drawn, that is 6000. Then afterwards for roadways, road transport, number of employees, that are 5000. So here you can see the road bar graph that I have drawn up till 4000. Okay. Next one, that is for income tax, that is 3000. So for income tax department, the number of employees, that is 3000. You have to see that vertical x-axis and y-axis should intersect at that particular point. Okay. Then afterwards, in case of finance department, the number of employees, that is 2500. So here you can see finance department on y-axis it is 3500. So they are intersecting over here, and a bar graph is a bar diagram, or a bar is being made over here. Okay. Then afterwards, last one, that is planning. In case of planning, the number of employees that are given to you, that is 1500. Okay. So you can see y-axis I have drawn from here and merging and made a bar graph, the bar diagram, that is of 1500 in case of planning. That is the number of employees for 1500 in case of planning department. Okay. So in this way you have to represent the you can write that is the railway department, the number of employees that is 6,000. So on the bar also you can mention the number of employees. Then afterwards, in case of road, the number of employees that is 4,000. In case of IT department, the number of employees that is 3,000. Okay. In case of finance department, the number of employees that is 2,500, and in case of planning, the number of employees that is 1,500. So in this way, you have to represent the data in a bar diagram. Okay. Now again, revising the basic things, that is always the horizontal line that would be x-axis, the vertical line that would be y-axis. You don't have to forget to write the scale, what you are representing on x-axis and what you are representing on y-axis, and what air or what distance you will be maintaining for x-axis and y-axis. Okay. Here you have mentioned that is what you are representing on x-axis, and here you have to mention what you are representing on y-axis. And then afterwards you have to represent all the data in the form of different bars. So easily you can analyze the data that the total number of employees that are more in case of railway department, and the lowest number of data that is in the planning department. Okay. So easily analysis can be done with the help of the graph, with the help of diagrammatic representation, and easily it can be understood even by the illiterates and the children also. Okay. So we have completed the first type of diagram. Now after completing the question number 1, that was based on the first type of diagram, that is bar diagram, let us move on with question number 3, that is representing the second type of diagram, that is multiple bar diagram. Now in case of multiple bar diagram, how to decide that which type of diagram has to be applied in particular question? Okay, that depends upon the data that has been given to you in the question. Okay, let us read question number 3. Changes in the price of share of 5 companies at Bombay Stock Exchange during an interval of 15 days are as follows. Present them by a suitable diagram. The data that has been given to you of 5 different companies, of the shares of price of the shares of 5 different companies that have been given to you. But over here the prices of shares that are given of current prices also, and the prices after 15 days also. So for each company, 2 different data or 2 different price of shares are given to you. So over here you have to apply that is multiple bar diagram. You cannot apply that is simple bar diagram, because for each company 2 different data, that is current prices of shares and the price after 15 days. So you have to represent on each company 2 different bars. Okay. So that's why you have to apply compulsory the second type of diagram, that is multiple bar diagram over here. Okay. So you can see the basic things for the first question, third question, that will be same only. That is your horizontal line that will be x-axis, vertical line that will be y-axis. What you are representing x-axis, that is company, and y-axis you are representing price of shares. Now you have to represent on the right top corner compulsory, that is the scale, that is x-axis you are taking company. So x-axis that is company, and y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 20 rupees per share. 20 rupees, that is the price of share. Okay. So that scale you can take differently also. Suppose you take starting from 10, then you have to write 1 centimeter is equal to 10 rupees price of share. Okay. I have taken scale over here as 1 centimeter is equal to 20 rupees. But you have to see that always whatever the data you are representing on y-axis, that should be covering the minimum value as well as the maximum value. Over here the minimum value of the price of share that is given to you, that is rupees 10, and the maximum value price of share that is given to you 150. So here you can see in 20, here 10 would be covered, and the highest value are taken up till 160. So 150 would be included in 160. So the highest and the lowest value should be covered on the y-axis. Here you can take 10 also. So you have to represent the 10, 20, 30, 40 up till 150 you have to carry forward your data. So the graph should be little bit bigger. In order to compress that graph, I have taken 1 centimeter is equal to 20 rupees as price of shares. Okay. So you can take 10 also, then also it would not be wrong in the examination. So it differs from student to student while taking the scale on y-axis. Okay. Now starting with 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140 and 160. Now students, you can see on x-axis, I have not written the name of the companies in the series, in the alphabetical order, that is A, B, C, D, E. I have written over here for C, then D, A, E and B. What is the reason behind that? That I will explain to you. As you can see, the the maximum. Okay, so easily you can do the analysis. You can see from the graph that C company is having the maximum price, then afterwards D, then afterwards A, then E, and then afterwards B. So for easy analysis and conclusion from the diagrammatic representation, I have taken the name of the company on x-axis according to their price of shares from highest to lowest. Okay, students, you can take according to the alphabetical order also, that is from A to E. Okay, I have taken according to the highest price of share to the lowest price of shares. It is not wrong if you are taking from A to E in the chronological order or in the alphabetical order. Okay, I have taken here purposely. The reason for that is to get easy analysis from the graph. Here you can see easily that the highest growth, that is of C, then afterwards of D, then A, E, and then afterwards B. So easy analysis, I have done the order from the highest to the lowest. Okay. Now first of all, I represent the company C. Okay, in the company C, you can see that is the price of share, that is current price, that is 100, and after 15 days the price that is given to you 150. Okay, so first graph, first bar that you have to draw up till 100, and the second bar that should be combined. You should not leave any gap. See students, there should not be any gap in between both the graphs. It should be combined only. Okay, so that way you have to represent the multiple bar diagram. So first one, that is 100, and for the price after 15 days, that is 150. Next, that is D company. You can see in the textbook the D company price, that is 80 and 60. So current price, that is 80, and the price after 15 days, that is 60. You know how to represent in the graph, that to draw, how to draw the bars. That is 60, then you have to see that here it should be getting 60, merging, and over here it should be merging with 80. Okay. Next one, that is A company in the ranking of the prices. A company, the prices, that is 40 and 60. Okay, so first one, that is 40 current price, and 60 that is after 15 days. Next one, that is E company, the current price, that is 30, and the price after 15 days, that is 10. Okay, then afterwards B company, the current price, that is 20, and price after 15 days, that is 30. Now students, how to identify that this particular bar is of the current prices and this particular bar is after price after 15 days. For that, for distinguishing the two different bars, you have to symbolize, you have to do two different symbols, you have to do different kinds of designs. Okay, it depends upon student whatever designs you want to do, just to distinguish between both the graph, between both the bars. Okay, here you can see for price, current prices, same simple I have drawn as it is without any design. And for the price after 15 days, I have drawn vertical lines on the bars, so as to easily distinguish that these vertical lines bars that are of the price of shares after 15 days, and whatever the simple bars without any kind of designs that are the current prices of shares. So any kind of designs you can draw just to distinguish, and that whatever the pattern that you are showing for different bars, that you have to mention after the scale on the right side of the graph. Okay, that is compulsory to be shown or mentioned in the graph. Whatever the pattern you are drawing for particular type of bar, that you have to mention on the right side of the graph. Okay students, so up till now we have today understood that is the importance, limitations, and the types of diagram. In that we have seen the subtypes of the one-dimensional diagram, that is bar diagram and multiple bar diagram, with the help of two questions of exercise 2.3 of your textbook. Now in the next video lecture, I will be explaining you the remaining two types of one-dimensional diagram, that is simple divided bar diagram and percentage divided diagram. Till then, goodbye. Keep practicing by referring the video lecture. Goodbye. Stay safe.